Hello, I'm Steve Lockhart. Thanks for joining me. During the next 70 minutes or so, I'm going to take you through a meditative exercise program called mlsyoga. Along with the help of participants in one of my classes, we're with Christy today and I'm going to show her how to do the program, and hopefully you can learn how to do it the same way. Christy's in the starting position for this program, which we call the wall sit. You can notice you've got your feet about shoulder width apart. You have an angle of about 45 degrees of the legs, and you're sitting with your back rested firmly against the wall, pushing your sacrum into the wall so that you're feeling some pressure either side of your sacrum in the top of your hips and around your glutes. Try and keep your upper body nice and relaxed so that all the effort is coming from your lower half. And you're lightly pushing into your feet so that you feel like you're using all the muscles in your legs as evenly as you possibly can. Get into a position where you feel quite comfortable. Keep the pressure even through all the muscles and just let your body relax in that position. You need to stay there for about 20 minutes to get an effective warm-up for this. So if you find that the position Christy's in is too low, you can always come up the wall a little bit and start a bit easier. The important thing is to try and do 20 minutes. Okay, you should be able to feel your sacrum sort of pushing into the wall slightly, so you can feel the pressure like even on both sides of your bum glute muscles, and feeling your sacrum against the wall. You can have a little bit of an arch in your back. That should be comfortable. Don't try and flatten your back against the wall or anything like that. And just feel the pressure even in that area, slightly pushing against the wall, and then with your feet, just feel your feet sort of pushing into the floor, like you're going to stand up, but you actually don't stand up. You just got that pressure on your feet. So you're trying to keep the pressure in all the muscles in your legs very even, okay? And what you'll find is that the muscles that are tight or blocked, that aren't really working for you yet, they're going to feel like a massive tightness. You're not going to be able to switch them on or feel them working for you. But as time goes on, as you start getting through the 20 minutes, you're going to feel they start to release and work for you. Okay, and that's the idea. You want to actually push into those tight muscles so that they actually loosen up and they improve as you go. But the important thing is to take it easy, not to sort of overdo it initially, and maybe build the pressure that you're putting into the muscles as the 20 minutes comes on and as you start to really warm up. Okay, so just get into a really relaxed position. I mean, normally you can watch TV doing this or read a book, it doesn't matter, and you just keep having to focus back to what you're doing, with where your positioning is. It's important to be really balanced, to feel like you're actually correcting any imbalance that might be in your pelvis, because if you've got a tilt or rotation in your pelvis, you've got to hold it into the correct position and make the muscles adjust to that position rather than you turning and adjusting to that tilt or twist. Okay, just try and relax in that position for a little while and concentrate on what your muscles are doing and what you're feeling in your legs. Keep your upper body as relaxed as possible, shoulders just relaxed against the wall. That's right, so you concentrate on having your feet at the right angle, which they are, so you don't want them turned too far out or too far in, you just have them very slightly turned out, pretty well straight. It's important that your legs drop straight down here from your knees, because if you have your feet too far back, you'll put too much pressure on your knees, and if you have your feet too far forward, you won't apply the pressure through the quad properly. When you're doing it, try and make your hamstrings work a little bit, so as you're working through your glutes you can feel your hamstrings switching on as best you can. It is more for the top of the legs, the glutes, but the quads, but you don't want to have all the pressure there, you want to try and spread it around to the back a little bit as well. Okay. Soon you should start to feel the tight muscles starting to come under pressure, and the weak ones, so they'll start to lock up or want to lock up, or perhaps start to shake. And as that happens, you've just got to keep trying to relax them and stop them doing that. Again, if it's too difficult, then you can always move up the wall, take a little bit of pressure off. It's almost like you're trying to stretch the muscles around your sacrum, the bone at the bottom of your spine. As the muscles start to tighten up, just keep trying to relax them and let the tension out of them and even the pressure. Push more into your feet and just try and let the muscles go from your quad, around your knees. So how are you feeling now? The muscles starting to shake at all, or you're feeling tight in your muscles a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay. So as they try to shake, you just keep trying to relax them, okay? Just keep trying to, because they'll want to grab and tighten up because they'll start to get tired, so you just keep trying to let them go and relax and just keeping that even pressure right through the whole body, the lower body, okay? It's important that you warm up your body well before you do the loosening and balancing stage of the yoga program, whether you do this wall sit or another form of warm-up. It's interesting, I can see from your legs that you're tight through this inside of this leg, which is at the hip that you have a bit of problem with?
No.
It's the other hip, okay. Because that muscle there does connect into the hip, so it's interesting. And are you aware of that now if you're standing there? Can you feel the tightness through that area?
Definitely.
Yeah. When you're doing the other parts of the techniques, you should actually be able to feel that and work on that. But just keep trying to release it as much as you can. Try and relax that upper body, keep the pressure from the waist down. Really focus on relaxing your feet, making sure you're switching on the muscles evenly through both sides of your pelvis, through putting into both legs. Any tight, dead spots that you feel in your legs, really concentrate on pushing the pressure into those spots. They're the tight spots that we've got to get rid of. So does it feel like you've been there an hour yet? Alright, that's about 20 minutes now, Christy, so you can slowly drop down the wall into that sitting position. Okay, so that's right, you're sitting on there. You can, if you hook your arms over the front of your knees, you can do some work on the tricep muscles on the back of your arms, and you can actually feel that stretching through your shoulders a little bit, but that's not important so much now anyway. In that position, I want you to rock from side to side, so you feel like you're just putting a bit of weight into your hip muscles and around the quads, and just giving them a little bit of work and stretch after that wall sitting exercise. Try to do it with your hands not on the floor if you can. If you can do it with balancing, that's right. Just makes you take a bit more of the strain on the muscles then. Okay, just do that for like 30 seconds or so. Okay, now if you can, from that position, you stand up, and we're going to do the ballet squat, which is turning your feet to the side as comfortably as you can. Okay, and then just squatting down, bending your knees, and sitting down. Don't go too low because it's quite a difficult exercise. You want to do this one for about 5 minutes. Okay, just in that sitting position. Shoulders back, nice straight back, and it's just trying to relax as best you can in that position. And the same thing, you're trying to feel the weight very even on both sides of your legs. And this will actually pulls in through the adductors and the ITBs, so the inside and the outsides of the legs, and you feel that? And you're probably aware of it more on that left leg where you've got that tightness.
Yes.
Okay, so again, just be really conscious of keeping the balance there, so you're not favouring one side more than the other, and keeping the weight in that tight area that you're working on there. And just relax in that position, breathe, and just try and keep as steady as you can. This is also a really good exercise for strengthening your ankles. Like if you have weak ankles and you go down quite low, because you need to balance yourself as you start to get tired, and you're working a lot around your ankle muscles and the muscles that support your ankle to actually hold the position. So it's a very good way of strengthening your ankles. Just think about your posture there too. You're a little bit skew-if, which just to bring you straighter, say like that, and your shoulders a little bit like that. Sometimes it's good to work in front of a mirror, but that's being caused because this leg is obviously a lot tighter through that upper leg, and it's pulling you a little bit skew-if. So if you can even check having a look down and just checking your position and trying to feel look how straight you are and put yourself into a straighter position. And sometimes when you know you've got a tight spot, it's worth pulling against that slightly because you know that that's going to be pulling you down on that side. So if you correct yourself away from that leg there, so you're feeling a bit more of a pulling on that leg, then you'll know that you're working against that short and tight muscle that's in there. Okay, you're a few minutes into that now, so just try and come down a fraction lower and just make it a little bit harder for yourself. That's right. Is that comfortable enough? You can manage that? And as you approach the end of your time, same with the 20-minute squat or this one, if you put a little bit more pressure on, you just take the weight a bit lower and lower, and you start to really focus on the tight muscles and really give them a little bit of extra work at the end, just for the last minute or so. And you'll find that as you do it, it gets easier and easier. And for example, with that one, you'll be able to go lower and be quite comfortable. The trouble is normally if you go too low, it pulls your body forward. It's very hard to stay back and stay in a nice straight plane. So you need that flexibility to do that. That comes with doing this for a while. Going to hold that one for a couple more minutes. It's very difficult, I know. Just try and relax your upper body. Again, concentrate on from the waist down. That's where all the effort comes in. Shoulders are back. Just keep trying to relax the upper body, keep thinking about dropping all that tension down. Okay, great. You've survived 5 minutes of that one, Christy. So next thing, we want you to get down. You can hop up and just move your legs around. If you want to get a bit of blood through your legs, you're probably feeling a bit tight and sore in the muscle at the moment. When you're ready, just come down into the prayer position on the rug there. And we're just going to stretch the quads a little bit. That's right, and sitting down there. Now the important thing with this one is to make sure you're nice and straight. That's right, so you can look at your pelvis and legs. You know, you want to be level across here and just very squared up on the body. So again, if you've got any tightness in the body, you're going to feel it and be pulling against it slightly. And then if you're comfortable, you can lean back on your hands and just take a little bit more pressure on the quads that way. When you do that, you notice that this leg comes back slightly, so it's the tightness through there again. So yeah, if you pull that forward, and you can then feel that pulling right through that side. And it's just trying to relax in that position so the muscle can relax and just give you the length that it needs. And again, just stay there, just be focused on your position, and really anything that's tight or you feel tight, just try and let that go and just relax. So once you've relaxed into that position for 30 seconds or so, we can get you to slip your shoes off, and we'll get you into the yoga position to do some of the balancing stretches. Okay, if you can just lie down here and on your back, just so that your head's up towards the end there. That's it. And then if you can put your feet together and spray your knees out to the side, that's right. Now again, you're trying to be very centered with that, so if you hold your head up and you have a look down and you look at your feet, and just make sure that you can see that you're very straight, which is pretty right, slightly like that, okay? And then what's straight, even though it mightn't feel straight because of the way one side's tighter than the other, you're putting it in the straight position so that now you're trying to relax the muscles and get any sort of pulling that you're feeling in any areas, you're trying to let that go and just try and relax in that position. You've actually got really good flexibility. A lot of people can't get past that sort of position, so that's no problem, because just come down here and relax again. You've still got a bit of space here to try and drop that leg down to the floor. So although it's not going to happen, that's what you're going to try and do. You're just trying to relax the muscles and let go through those quads and hips as much as you can. Okay, so just relax, concentrate on just letting go, and just try and let all the tension go out of the legs for a couple of minutes. You can start to feel now where imbalances are through your pelvis and legs. You can make sure you've checked to see that your feet are nice and straight, that your heels are right in the centre of your body. And if it doesn't feel right, or if it feels a little bit twisted, then that shows you how your body might be a little bit out. Okay, so really just let go. And when you're letting go and relaxing all the muscles, you may even find that a tight muscle starts to cramp a little bit. And if it does, just try and let the cramp come and pass. It'll pass after 30 seconds or so. It shouldn't be an intense cramp. If you're ever doing this routine, if you ever get an intense cramp that you can't handle, you just straighten your legs out into a straight position and pull your toes back and stretch your muscles a bit, and that'll go away. But any cramps that you get as you go are actually tight muscles that are reacting, and if you can put up with the cramp and let it pass its time, or let it go through its course, you'll actually help release that muscle, so it's a good thing. Okay, Christy, now while you're in that position, I want you to try and switch on your hamstrings. So try and contract your hamstrings on both sides, nice and evenly. Okay, and just turn them on and hold them. Just leave them switched on. If you're comfortable with it, keep slowly increasing the pressure and get them on, as strong as you possibly can. But the main thing is to have them switched on. So if you find you can't connect with them, you can't switch them on, it can mean that they're too weak, or it can mean they're just blocked and tight. But in that case, you probably need to do it quite gently and not try to get too strong. But if you can switch them on, then build the pressure a little bit, turn and hold them, contract them as tight as you can, or as hard as you can. Think about the balance all the time. So make sure both muscles are switched on evenly the same. If one muscle feels tighter than the other, then that just shows you what you've got to work on. You can intensify the pressure to a point where they feel very even. Again, if you start to get a cramp, try and relax with it, try and let it pass its course. And as the cramp fades away, you should feel the muscle start to release. Now, if you want to increase the tension on your hamstrings slightly, you can interlock your fingers behind your neck and you can place your hands behind your head, and that'll just put a little bit of extra tension on your upper body, which will make your hamstrings, you'll become a little bit more aware of your hamstrings. Okay, now as you release from that position, I want you to try and bring your knees down against the floor. So even if your legs are touching the floor, be pushing them into the floor, just to use the muscles that you would to do that. Okay, so you'll be switching on the inside leg muscles, the adductors, and the outside leg muscles, as you're trying to push your knees into the floor. For somebody that can't get their legs down that low, it's fine you don't have to actually get your knees down to the floor. It's just turning the muscles on as though you're trying to do that. That's the main focus. And just relax with that and hold it for about a minute or so. Again, if you're feeling any blocked area or any area that's hard to actually connect with, then you try and focus on that. It's just an area that's tight. How's that left leg feeling when you do this one?
I can feel it more on the left leg.
Okay, so you can actually feel the muscles working there?
Yes.
All right. So now that you can feel it more on the left, don't lose focus on the right. Really try and keep the balance very even on both sides. So even though when you start doing it, they might feel different, you hold the pressure there until they start to adjust so that they feel the same. You can do this, you can do any of these exercises for 5 minutes if you've got that sort of endurance in the muscles, and it takes that long to get the muscles to release and feel even. But that's the whole goal of it, is to try and make both sides feel even so that your body's more in balance at the end of it. Again, thinking about the balance from both sides of your body.
Should your back be arched up?
Your back can be arched up a little bit, yeah. I mean, you'll have a natural curve there, but if you arch your back slightly, that's fine. You can actually change the position of your back a few times through the posture just to increase the tension on different muscles. There's no problem with moving your pelvis slightly throughout this posture, because all it's going to do is switch on and use different muscles in the pelvis, and that's fine. The main focus is that you're trying to switch on both sides of your pelvis, both muscles on either side of your body, exactly the same. And if you have a tightness in one side more than the other, then you try and hold that contraction until that tightness starts to balance itself, until you feel the tightness releasing. It'll be harder for you to switch on a tight muscle, and it'll be harder for you to switch on a weak muscle. So if you're trying to switch on a muscle and it doesn't work and you can't get it to work, then you need to get some exercise on those muscles to get them working, get the bit of strength into them for you. Now at the same time that you're pushing your knees down to the floor, push your arms or elbows, shoulders into the floor as well. Same thing, so you're switching on the muscles in your shoulders and arms and in your legs at the same time. Can you feel, do they feel balanced in the shoulder?
Yes.
So you feel nice and even? Are you conscious of the muscles like around the back of your shoulder blade, between your shoulders? Okay, and they feel even? If they don't, then you're trying to make them, hold it and wait until they feel even. So if there's an area that's tight, say in one shoulder, then that's going to feel like you can't connect with it. So you're doing it more gently and you're just holding the pressure on it, waiting for that muscle to switch on. While you're in that position, you should be feeling the erector muscles, which are the muscles running each side of your spine. You should be able to feel them contracting. So it's almost, you're arching your back ever so slightly as you're pushing your shoulders back and your hips, legs back down to the floor. And then you can feel those muscles that run either side of your spine switching on at the same time. Can you feel that?
I can feel that.
What does it mean if your legs start shaking?
If your legs start shaking, that means that the muscles are weak. And so you just try and control the shake and you just try and keep the muscles switched on and it'll help strengthen them. All right, now from that position, Christy, I want you to put your feet flat on the floor so your knees are facing the ceiling and bring your legs out a little wider so that you place your feet, turn your toes in a little bit less, that's right, and place your feet, wider than your hips. And now, keeping your legs focused on down and pushing them down into the floor, I want you at the same time to draw your knees together, but not to let these come in. So you're really trying to keep this here and you're working against it to bring in. So you're not going to move your legs a great deal, but you should feel a result up through here, some pressure. Can you feel that? No, you're too loose through there, okay. That's all right, so bring them in a little bit closer, but at the same time trying to keep your feet planted down on the floor.
I can feel that more.
You can feel that more now, okay.
Yeah.
And you just hold that same thing, you're trying to feel the balance from one side to the other so that it's nice and even. And while you're doing that, just keep focusing on that even pressure both sides and allowing the muscles that might be tighter on one side or different on one side to adjust so that they feel more even again. And if you feel like you've done any of these positions for a couple of minutes and you still haven't got them feeling even, you can always come back to them and bring them in 2 or 3 times throughout the workout and keep trying to get them until they feel even on both sides and you feel the balance. Okay, so now you can bring your feet closer together again, about hip width apart, that's right. And now just to push your sacrum down into the floor. So you're just trying to feel the pressure all through your lower back, pelvis, around through the hips as you're just increasing the pressure. Trying to, again, feel the balance both sides so you're very even on both sides. And just hold that pressure for about a minute or so. Okay, now if you can bring your biceps together up towards pointing your elbows to the ceiling, and now switch on your biceps and try and tighten like as though you're pulling your biceps away from your shoulders, and trying to turn your biceps on and really contract them. When you're doing this, you may even find you get a cramp. As you bring that pressure on, the muscle may start to cramp. If that happens, just leave the cramp there, bring the cramp in lightly and at a comfortable level, and just leave it until that cramp starts to fade before you might turn the pressure on a bit harder again. This is the same with any of these exercises. Anytime you get a cramp in any of the muscles, just allow it to come in, work with it, just leave it there for a while and it'll tend to fade away, and that's how the muscle will release. And then you can increase the pressure again, try and bring the cramp back, and you'll get to a point where you can't make the muscle cramp because it's loosened off. Okay, bring the elbows slightly closer together, the left and the right one as well. Are you able to get any cramping in the bicep? No? Okay, can you feel like you're switching it on nice and strong? Yeah, you won't get a cramp unless the bicep muscle's tight, but if it is too tight, which is common in people, you will feel that. Okay, now in that same position, you can relax the bicep a bit, and I want you to tighten up the muscle in your mid-back, in your mid to upper back, and as tight as you can, just sort of lock the muscles up, and then at the same time, pull your shoulder girdle away from the spine so that you can feel the stretch coming in the middle of your back and in the upper back. So you're resisting it with the tightening of the muscle and you're pulling away at the same time. Okay? And you should feel like you can switch on both of those muscles either side. And again, see if they feel balanced. See if you can have the pressure both sides the same, and just hold that pressure. Okay, now focus a little bit more on the spine itself and try and draw the whole shoulder muscles away from the spine. So feel the pressure of the muscles pulling away from the spine in that upper back area. Just at a comfortable pressure, just switching the muscles on. Again, being aware of what's happening on either side of your upper back, and keeping the muscles switched on. If they're tight, trying to make contact with them, trying to get them to switch on. If they're very blocked and very bound up in that area, you'll have a lot of trouble trying to switch them on. And again, it's an indication that you might need to do some separate exercises to get those muscles a little bit more mobile and active. This is all about becoming more aware of your body and where your tight spots are and where your imbalances are at the same time as working on it. Okay, now relax the back area and your arms. Bring your legs down nice and straight. Now I want you to pull your toes back and lock up your quads, like just tighten your quads as hard as you possibly can. Really squeeze the muscles nice and tight. That's right, make them tight to the point where you may feel a cramp in any of those muscles too. You tend to if the muscles are really blocked. Okay, and just hold that for 10 seconds. Pulling your toes back, really squeezing the tightness here. Okay, 10 seconds, and then just relax your legs, separate it a little bit, and just flop your legs to the side. That's right, and just loosen the muscles off again. Just throw them around a little bit. You might get the joint sort of clicking or releasing when you do that. You can do that for 20 seconds or so, and then you can do that once more where you again tighten the quads, pull back the toes for about 10 seconds. Okay, once more. Are those quadricep muscles working properly, or do you feel one side is more blocked and restricted than the other? If you feel a blockage or restriction on one side, you just try and turn the muscles on as hard as you can against it. Try to make those muscles work. Try to over-tighten the muscles to what tightness is already there. Okay, relax again. Just let the legs move from side to side, loosen them off. Okay, now if you can put your feet together again, facing each other, spray the legs once more, nice and even. Just lift your head up and check that your feet are nice and straight, get them into a straight position. Okay, relax there. Now, I want you to arch your back, so you're pushing your ribs, chest up towards the ceiling, and you're trying to contract the erector muscles, which are the muscles running up either side of your spine. So try and turn them on and tighten them up as much as you can. And again, just hold the contraction in a balanced way through your back. Now, while you're in that same position, bring your elbows up like so, and try and, while they're contracting and you're holding that, also try and pull your shoulders away from your spine slightly. And just hold that pressure again for about 30 seconds or so. Okay, you can relax there now. Now I want you to reach back behind you and just try and reach as far back as you can and touch the wall, which you're not going to be able to do. And just really feel that stretch through the middle of your back. Really stretch, take a deep breath, stretch as far back as you can. Really reach. Now focus on your right arm and let your left shoulder drop down and reach your right shoulder and arm up and reach and try and touch with your right arm. Really focus on that right side, stretching down, dropping your left shoulder, reaching up with your right shoulder, and then slowly reverse it, come back the other way and really reaching with your left shoulder, right up as far as you can, all the pressure with your left side. And again, reverse it again, the right side. And then again the left side. Okay, now bring your hand behind your head again, that's right. And you want to draw the humerus, which is your arm bone in the upper arm, and just pull it away from your shoulder. So you're tensing your arm, shoulder to do it, and then you're just moving it both sides actually, where you're stretching them away, trying to put a bit of tension in the stretch on the shoulder and around the joint. You may feel again a bit of cramping in the front of your arm or the upper arm if you've got tightness in there. And just hold that for 30 seconds or so. Okay, now while you're in that position, bring your feet to the floor with your knees pointing up to the ceiling again and push your sacrum down into the floor again. Okay, from that same position, bring your feet together again, let your knees fall down to the floor, legs sprayed, that's right. Again, checking your position, make sure that your feet are nice and straight. Okay, and going back to what you did the first time with contracting the hamstrings, just try and turn your hamstrings on and hold that contraction. Alright, so now you want to move your feet so that your legs are half straightened. So you push your feet forward. That's about right. Just so they're about halfway straightened. Come down a fraction more here, Jen. Okay, now in that position, you want you to try and contract your hamstrings again. Switch them on. You might get a cramp in somewhere when you do this one because you've got them under a bit more pressure. If you do, bring the cramp in slowly. Let the cramp take its course. Might take 30 seconds or so. Bring it into a level that you can cope with. Let it run its course and then it'll fade away. And you can alternate once you've work both those muscles that way and you feel like there's some good balance there, you can now try and draw your knees down to the floor. So switching on the muscles that bring them down to the floor. And this will you'll feel the pressure much more around your knees at this point. So if you've got problems with your knees or a lot of tightness holding around your knees that might be pulling your pelvis out one way or the other, this is the exercise that'll really make you aware of that. You're just trying to turn on the muscles on both legs exactly the same. Start with a comfortable pressure. If you feel strong and confident with it, you can switch the pressure on and even harder and make the muscle work a lot harder. Now in the same position, relax the hamstrings and I want you to push your feet together. So the soles of your feet, just increase the pressure as you push them together and the muscles that it takes to do that. Try and be very even. Keep the pressure even, both legs through your whole hips, upper legs, lower legs, feet. Be aware of any areas that are tight and blocked that's causing you to twist slightly, and don't let that happen. Try and focus on the tight areas and make sure that they start working or they work as hard as everywhere else. Again, if you feel a cramp coming, just try and keep the pressure on them just to the point where the cramp is comfortable and you can control the pressure. So you're just pushing the soles of your feet together and that's all you're focusing on. If you find it hard to do, you can bring your feet up towards your buttock a little bit more and that might make it a bit easier. Okay, from that position, straighten your legs again, and we're going to do the straight legs down on the floor, that's right, toes back, and really squeezing your quads again for 10 seconds. Hold it as tight as you possibly can, really switch the quad muscles on harder and harder and harder and squeeze them as tight as you possibly can. Hold that for 10 seconds. Okay, and just relax and let the legs flop to the side again. Okay, now with this one, the next one, I'll get you to turn your feet in, try and contract the arch of your foot. But again, this one you often do get a cramp because a lot of people have tight feet and they'll get a cramp. So just be careful how hard you do it and bring the cramp in slowly to a comfortable level. Okay, so turn the feet so that keep increasing the pressure until you can feel the cramp start to come in. Once you feel the cramp start to come in, then just leave that pressure, let the cramp do its thing, pass, and then increase the pressure more. Okay, as tight as you possibly can now, turning your feet, really causing the arches to come in. Again, you increase the pressure chasing the cramp. You got no cramps?
Cramp on the left-hand side.
Cramp on the left, okay. You just got to be careful that you don't bring it in too quickly, too hard, because otherwise that can be quite painful. So you just get to the point where it's comfortable and just leave it at that pressure and wait. How's that cramp going now? Is it faded?
Fading.
Okay. It's best to keep going until it fades out, and then again increase the pressure, try and chase it, and if there's nothing left, and when there's nothing left, you can relax the feet. Okay, same thing, put your feet together, pull the feet back, tighten the quads, really stiffens the leg muscles up as tight as you possibly can. 10 seconds. Okay, relax there. Now I want you to flex the arches again, but with the feet straight. Okay, as hard as you possibly can. Is there any cramping happening? No? Good. Now spray your knees to the side, just turn your knees out, and try and do that way now, cramp your arches. So I mean flex your arches that way and just see if that's any harder on your arches or gives you any cramps. No, that's okay. All right. Okay, now again you can reach back with your hands and just do one more, trying to touch the wall. Nice deep breath in, reach back, feel that stretch right through the middle of your back. You can arch your back to try and get some length. Really feel the arch in your middle, lower to middle back, coming up into your upper back. Take a deep breath and then stretch a bit further. Try and switch on the erectors evenly on both sides so both those muscles are turning on. And then again, concentrate on one arm, drop the other shoulder. Twist your body so that you get that arm that reach back as far as you possibly can. Really feel that twist through your upper back. So one side's dropped down, the other side's reaching right back. And then once you've done that, come back with that arm and reach up with the other. Really turn your chest, reach back as far as you can. Get that mobilization of the vertebrae in your upper back. Really extend your right arm. The same thing, you can sometimes get cramps when you do this in the shoulder, through the back, and again you just let that come in, let it pass, and then stretch a bit further. The cramps aren't bad, never sort of worry about the cramp, just let it come in at a controllable level. Okay, now place your hand again behind your head. Contract your erectors, so arch your back and really feel like those erectors are starting to contract. As you come through these exercises for the second time, you should feel the muscles have loosened up quite a bit and it's a lot easier. Okay, so contract the erectors, and now in that position, I want you to bring your right shoulder down towards your right hip. Try and keep your head up a little bit, don't bend your whole body too much, but really stretch down, and so you're feeling the curve. Yeah, that's right, you're really getting the curve and the pressure coming into this area, okay? And really arch in there and contract and pull the muscle as tight as you can through that area, and then go the other side. Same thing. Switch the erectors on again and bring your left shoulder down to your left hip. Again, feeling it twist right in that lower back area under the ribs. Really getting that erector to dig in deep, really get it to feel it tighten up deep in there. And then take the pressure off slowly and come back to the straight position. Put your feet on the floor towards your bum, so bring your feet right up close there. That's right, now you're moving sitting up position, just up as best you can there. Okay, I want you to get up onto your feet. So you're on your toes, that's right. You can lean back on your hands. Okay, and then bring your knees down towards the floor. Just keep your pelvis nice and straight and feel the stretch all through this quad, hip flexors and stomach, lower psoas area. Okay, and really feel like you bring your knees, you dip your knees forward as much as you can, feel that pressure. Just hold that for a few minutes or a few seconds. And then come back on your hands more. Take the weight of the body on your hands. Okay, now switch your arm muscles on, and as you did with your legs, tighten your whole arm muscles up as much as you can. Pull your shoulders back and really feel the stretch through your chest as you're pushing your arms down into the floor. Really hold that for about 10 seconds. Okay, now again, release the pressure out of your arms and shoulders and bring your knees forward again onto your toes. Really feel the pressure down through your quads. Try and get a little bit of straighter there, that's right. Just try and really relax the muscles as you do that too, so you can let the muscles lengthen. And then go back onto your hands again. Take the weight on your hands, put the pressure on your hands and tighten your arm muscles up as much as you can. Pull your shoulders back and really feel your chest forward, feeling like that stretch through the top of your shoulders, front of your shoulders and chest. And again, lean forward once more into your legs. Okay, now you can relax forward, just have your knees on the floor, that's right, and from that position, just shake your arms, nice and relaxed, and just get some rhythm going, just try and loosen the arm muscles off. Keep trying to relax the muscles as much as you can so you can feel them flopping around. Okay, just get up to your feet for me. Now just to do some nice swinging from side to side, just try and loosen your back off. Let your arms flop to the side, so you're nice and loose, keeping your head straight ahead and your hips straight ahead. Nice and loose, all in your upper body, just getting a nice freedom twist through there. Just do that for 30 seconds or so. Okay, once more, shaking your arms, nice and loose through your arms. Getting your wrists, hands nice and loose. Okay, once more with the arm swinging, and you can do that for about 3 minutes, and you can just gently swing from side to side and just let your whole body relax. How do you feel? Nice and loose?